So there's this concept, right, that I've learned back when I used to live with you is the concept of a 90-day run. And to me, at first, when I learned that concept, I thought that it was mostly for the sales industry. Like, for example, I can relate to my cousin Drake. He sells knives, and he would have promotional periods where maybe one season is big, like Christmas season, very big for selling knives. So he might have that 90-day run just to push his income to the next level during those 90 days. And back then, I thought that this is mainly for the sales industry. But right now, I'm a YouTuber and I use that concept a lot, that 90-day run concept. So, April 2020, the end of April, that's when I started my 90-day run journey, where I told myself that no matter what, I'm probably going to hate it having sleepless nights, but I'm going to, at a minimum, upload one video a week. And if you guys look at my channel, just look at my channel right now. And from now to since April of 2020, I've met that goal so far. I've met the goal of uploading at least one video a week. So I think that whatever ventures you have, like whether that be sales industry, which for me it's YouTube, I think the concept of a 90-day run of just going all out for such a semi-short period of time. Obviously, 90 days is not very short. 30 days is not bad, but 90 days, that's quite long, but it's not impossible. It's not like you have to go a full year of going all out. So maybe you can explain to them what you think about the 90-day run and how this applies to just regular everyday people. Maybe they don't have a YouTube channel, or maybe they're not in the sales industry. How does everyday regular people benefit from this 90-day run concept?
Okay. Well, first, I want to explain to the viewers what a 90-day run is and why. All right. So how it applies to what I do, the reason why you want to do a 90-day run is because there's a philosophy and a concept called success loves speed. All right. Success loves speed. So a lot of people in my space, they kind of just plod along, right? They start their businesses and they start doing minimal activity. And they think that if they just do that minimal activity for a long enough period of time, then all of a sudden one day they're going to have this massive success and it's going to turn into like a multi-million-dollar business. Well, in my space, it doesn't quite work that way. They call it, if you remember in school, the story of the tortoise and the hare, right? The tortoise and the hare. And what was the moral of that story? Well, the moral was slow and steady wins the race. Because if you remember the story, it's like the rabbit was like, going all around, jumping around and being really cocky, and he would start and then he would stop and then he would start and then he would take a nap, and then the turtle was just going slow and steady, slow and steady, slow and steady. And by the time he reached the finish line, the rabbit was somewhere back there just messing around doing some bunch of nonsense. So that's what we were, growing up. That's the philosophy that just was ingrained in our mindset. But in business, a lot of times it doesn't work that way. You have to go hardcore for, in this case, we're talking about 90 days. So I love the analogy that one of my mentors used to talk about all the time, probably still talks about a lot, is the airplane on the runway. So imagine this as the runway, and this is your airplane. Now, there's the end of the runway here. In order for your plane to get off the ground, the only way it can get off the ground is if you go full throttle. Okay, what does full throttle mean? That's 100%. Think about it. If you go 20% throttle, is there any possibility that your plane's going to get off the ground? No, zero chance. So if you're the pilot, you're like, okay, 20%, fine. I understand. I probably need to give more effort. Let's double my effort, right? Let's go from 20 to 40 now. Now, 40%, are you going to get off the ground? No. Now, what if you say, well, okay, how about I double that? I go to 80%. Are you going to get off the ground at 80%? No. You need 100%. 100% to get your plane, or in this case, your business. In my case, it was my business, off the ground. Now, does that mean you have to sustain 100% forever? No. That's why you call it a 90-day run. You go 90 days all out, 90 days high intensity, full throttle activity like you've never worked before. We're talking 12, 14, 16-hour days, 6 to 7 days a week. If you want it bad enough, that's what it's going to take. Once you get your plane or your business off the ground after 90 days, then that's when you can start to pull back on that throttle, okay, for a couple of different reasons. Number one, if you keep going 100% past 90 days, you're going to get burned out. Okay. And if you burn out, then you're going to quit. And if you quit, then you're not going to get to your goals. All right. Number two, you're going to run out of gas. Right? Think about it. If you go 100% and keep going 100%, 100%, you're going to run out of gas before you get to your destination. So what's the cool thing about 90-day run is that you don't have to do a 90-day run forever. You do the 90-day run, all out, massive action, get your business off the ground, and then you pull back to maybe 60 or 65%, and then you coast. Now, when I say coast, obviously that doesn't mean you're going to relax 100% and you're just going to like not do anything. You're still going to do a lot of the activity. You're just not going to do it at the level that you did before, because like I said, if you did that, you would just burn yourself out. You don't want to get burned out. Okay. So you pull back and then you get to a level. Let's just call it, let's say 6 figures, right? Let's say your initial goal is I want to hit a 6-figure income. You do the 90-day run, you get to 6-figure income. Okay. Now, if you want to coast at a 6-figure income and stay there, you can, no judgment, right? I mean, people get judged sometimes. They're like, oh, well, you need to get back to work and you need to work hard again like that. Well, you don't have to. What if you want to spend time with your family? What if you want to take vacations? Well, then you can coast and you can maintain that 6-figure income. Now, if you want to get to a 7-figure income, you're most likely going to have to do another 90-day run. Because if you don't, then most likely you're just going to stay at that, you can call it a plateau, if you will, stay at that level. So if you want to get to 7 figures, you can do another 90-day run. Now, I'm not guaranteeing you that if you just do a 90-day run, automatically you're going to guarantee 6 figures to 7 figures. But what I am saying is that it's going to dramatically increase your chances of getting to those levels if you do that short burst of intense activity. Okay. So that's how it applies to what I do. Now, as far as, maybe people that don't have a business, well, I think that I was talking to you earlier about budgeting. And maybe you can tell the viewers about how you see that concept and how it applies to budgeting, because I know that's kind of your forte right now.
Before we go there, actually, so I kind of want to explain the concept as a YouTuber, because I have a big chunk of my subscribers are brand new YouTubers. So, for me, I remember back then I used to upload a video in 2019, but I uploaded a video maybe once a month, right? And if you look at my subscriber base back then, it was like a 20, 21, 22, like I didn't see any traction. So even though I was consistently uploading once a month, I didn't get anywhere. It wasn't until April of 2020 when I told myself, you know what, I'm going to go all out at a minimum 1 video a week, sometimes 2, sometimes 3 if I'm very motivated. And I went from 20 subscribers all the way up to 100. I remember I texted you when I first hit my 100 subscriber mark, and all the fruits of my labor paid off. And it was exponential. It wasn't like, when I first started, I gained 2 subscribers a day. It was exponential, because the month of April, when I first started, I saw nothing. So basically, I uploaded a video in April, nothing. In May, very little traction too. And then come June, early June, I saw a big spike. It's sort of, I feel like entrepreneurship, especially being a young YouTuber, you get that sort of random spikes, like all your hard work from the past, it just pays off 2 months later. So all of my videos that I uploaded back in April, back in May, it's just now paying off. It's July. It's now paying off, and I didn't see that right on the spot. A lot of YouTubers, they get so antsy about, like, what is my 48-hour view count? Like, what is my 48-hour subscriber change? But, I think what I would say to them is just enjoy the process, because sometimes these keywords, these types of videos might take a while. It might take 2 months. So definitely as a YouTuber, I can definitely relate with the concept of a 90-day run, because all the hard work that I put 90 days ago definitely is paying off now. I went from 20 subscribers to now over 200, in the span of 90 days.
That's amazing. I do want to mention this real quick. One of my other mentors, Ray Higdon, when he first started his business back, I believe it was around 2010, 2012, he committed to doing 2 videos a day, every day. Okay. And he was prospecting and getting like 20 no's a day on the prospecting side. So he was doing both the active prospecting and the passive marketing side. But 2 videos a day was his commitment. And when he first started, he sucked, right? And by the way, if you guys are out there making videos, your first video is going to suck. And if your first video that you ever make doesn't suck, all it means is that you waited too long to start. You just waited too long to start, because your first video, for all the best YouTubers out there and the best people that are making videos on a consistent basis, their first videos were not good. All right. And if you ever watch their first videos, you're like, how the heck could they go from that to where they are now? Well, they just stuck with it. They stayed consistent. So going back to what I was saying with Ray at the beginning, 2 videos a day, his first few weeks, no traction, hardly any views, hardly any leads coming in. It took him 6 months to start getting any type of lead generation through his videos. But now, since then, now he's generating, he's not actively building his business now, but after about a year in, he was getting, 2,000 to 3,000 leads a month. And he was getting those leads years after he had even stopped doing videos. Videos that he had done years ago were still generating him leads years after that. So, just like Franz is saying, at the beginning, you cannot focus on the results, right? As much as you want to, as much as you want to check your gauges, right? You're like, oh, how many views do I have? What's the algorithm saying about, about the number of people on my subscriber? If you keep focusing on that, you're going to drive yourself crazy, right? Just understand you got to focus on the process. You got to keep focusing on the content and the value that you're giving to your viewers, and the viewers will come. It's like there's almost no way that they can't, because as long as you're providing the value and you're getting better, right? You're not just gonna keep putting out videos and they're gonna suck forever, because you're gonna learn. If you have that drive, you're gonna learn. You're gonna get better. It's impossible not to.
Yeah, for sure. It's eventually going to pay off. And so I want to drive it home to the budget thing. Maybe how that would affect. How would you apply a 90-day run to a budget? So one thing I thought about, right, is so last June I did a challenge where I saved 80% of my income for the month of June. And honestly, there's no way I can sustain that for 12 years. One day I'm going to have a wife, kids, 2 kids, 3 kids. I don't know. There's no way I'm going to sustain an 80% savings rate. You know what I mean? So I think a lot of my subscribers are also very frugal. They're a minimalist. And I think it's good to have sort of a goal of maybe a 30-day, 60-day, 90-day challenge where you just go all out and just save as much as you can. And for me, I set that threshold to 80%, which is almost impossible for a lot of people. But fortunately for me, I live at home. But yeah, 80% savings. One lesson that people would learn is that after saving 80% of your income for 90 days, it's like, for example, me, right? Back in the day, I was a big spender. I would live paycheck to paycheck willingly. So imagine me saving 80% of my income for 90 days. And then after that 90-day period, it's going to be very hard for me to go back to my old habits of spending all of my paycheck. I might scale down to 50%, maybe 40% of my savings. But there's no way I'm going to ever go back to living paycheck to paycheck just because I blew my money on bottle service, on clubs, bars, going to Vegas. You know what I mean? So definitely can't sustain the 80% mark, but it's going to ingrain really good habits in my brain that if I do scale back after the 90 days, it's going to be much easier concept to save 50% of my income. Because think about that, like going from 80% to 50% is going to look easy. Like even 50% for an average person is like a lot. Can you imagine telling the average person, hey, yeah, I saved 50% of my income and it's pretty easy, man. It's not that bad. You know what I mean? But it's coming from me. I've went from saving 80% and I scaled down to 50. See, that's the only reason why it was easy, because I knew what it was like to live extremely frugal. So scaling down to 50 would be cake. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So that to me is something that someone like a budgeter can apply the 90-day run concept to.